Well, guys, I just wanted to give you a little view of the SD1300. Right now, I don't have a scooter anymore. I'm scooterless, and I would like to find another scooter, but I think I'd like to try to find a Honda 150 Adventure, the ADV 150. But I just wanted to just give you a brief intro on this bike. You know, the SD1300s, they are excellent bikes, and I had a 2003, and I had some really big memories of it, mostly bad memories of getting speeding tickets. So I'm trying to be a little bit more reasonable with my throttle on this one. It's a 2004 or 5, I don't know the year, I think it's like 2004, and the fork seals have been recently done. It's got a electric windshield operated this way. It's got heated grips right there. You know, this bike comes with you can adjust your headlights this way, and this is the clock illumination stuff. I kind of forgot how it really functions. I haven't had one of these in a really long time. This was kind of like a last minute sort of deal. So it doesn't have a lot of miles for an SD, so only 25,000 miles. And I average 41 miles to the gallon on the highway here for 224 miles. So not bad. And you know, when you look at the gauges, I think it looks still pretty contemporary. You know, this bike, if you don't know any better, you don't know that it's that old. It's close to almost being historic. And these are the dummy lights. And what's cool is that this is illuminated at night. So that's a nice touch. But I'll eventually be doing a long video of this bike. The gas tank is pretty large. I forgot what it was. I think it's like close to 7 gallons. It's got the top here, and then it's got another gas tank at the bottom. That's something that Honda does a lot, and it keeps the weight low. Of course, this bike is known for the engine. It's a V4 sideways, so the heads are actually kind of pointing this way. And you know, I had the FJR. The FJR, I think, is a faster bike. It's more sport oriented, but feels heavier than this. And this is actually heavier, but it feels lighter because of the gas tank being down, the motor also being slightly further down. It does feel much lighter. So this has got the air wings, MCL Sport Touring. That's a nice touch because you have to cut this piece of plastic on the bike to fit, and it fits pretty well. It's got like these little deflectors here. It's got a aftermarket seat that I'll be exchanging for another one because he wants this back, so it was nice enough to let me use it. You know, I don't really care too much about the seats on this bike because this bike is extremely comfortable. This is one long seat. My ST, I believe, had 2 separate seats. And look at this. To put it on the center stand, it comes out with like a nice handle. I mean, that's a nice touch. Of course, it's got a center stand. It's got like a crash bar for each saddlebag. And of course, this bike comes standard with saddlebags, you know, and it looks good with saddlebags. If you remove the saddlebags on an SD1300, it looks horrible. There's something off about it. The FJR looks good without the saddlebags, but this one looks just really bad. And this is the Givy that I had on the Silverwing. He didn't want it. It's kind of like a pretty crappy, just very beat up. So I took it. But yeah, it's a really good bike. It makes a lot of noise when you're making like the turn signals. Look at this. That's the fuel pump. Oh, look at that. It's like a truck backing up. So that's an aftermarket thing. And look at this, electric windshield. That is crazy. It's something that I never even thought about using. It's also got the heated grips, like I said. It's got the ABS. So this is the ABS version, and the brakes are amazing. The brakes on this, you touch, I hit the brakes just a little bit, and it was like, holy cow. Suspension is very hard on it. I actually like to have a little bit more plush, so I'll probably just do the preload a bit. But yeah, like it even comes like with these knobby keys, so you can kind of leave it in here, because if you have a garage, you don't really have to remove them. And one thing that bothered me on the ride is that I was using my big boots, and my boots were hitting the stop part, but you can see that your feet actually kind of get molded into this plastic, and it makes it easier to have the wind deflect and go over the rider. The Super Tenere was also molded like this. It felt like you're inside the bike. This particular bike, you don't sit inside the bike. It's a very odd feeling of sitting on top of the bike. Actually, when you sit on it, the gas tank is really low. And on the Super Tenere, for example, like the way I sit on it, I fit a little bit better on the Super Teneres. My whole body just kind of feels like it's more intertwined with the bike. This one, you're sitting on top, like, so you're essentially just riding a horse. And when you sit on this thing, the first thing that you realize is the comfort. I mean, this thing, the ergonomics on it, it's a sport touring bike, but it's a very neutral position. And I just wanted to like give you a little bit of a show of what this bike is like. So now I have the CRF and the ST1300. And another thing that I thought that Honda really screwed up on the Silverwing scooter, they should have put these mirrors. These are car-like mirrors on the Silverwing, but they just put the regular stock style. And I think that's a bad like look for the Silverwing, because the Silverwing really should be more like this. I actually think the naming convention of that scooter should not be the Silverwing. They really should have called this one the Silverwing, because it's much more in line with what the Goldwing is and then the Silverwing. But this is, of course, known as the Pan-European. It's a bike that, man, you can ride this thing for 100 miles an hour for hours upon hours, and it feels like you're at 30 miles an hour. This bike is really good for European highways. If you're out in the West Coast, it's really good for that. And I see bikes like this all the time on Craigslist with 150,000 miles. And I met a guy last year, and he had, I think, what, 200,000 or 300,000 on his ST1300. So these are really capable machines. If you want a very reliable bike that will completely just rack up the miles and not need a lot of maintenance, this is probably it. The FJR is just as good, but I think that I would pick this over the FJR. And I know that's very controversial, but there's something about this bike, the interesting motor. You know, Honda is not building interesting motors anymore. They're all going with the inline 2s, and this is the last of the V4s. I believe they still have the VF 1200X, that's a V4, I'm not sure. But yeah, this is a big bike. It gives you big comfort. And that's it. I'm going to start it up just really quick. I'm locked in the garage. It's kind of terrible out. It's raining. So let me put it in neutral. Probably don't ride with sandals. It's got that Honda twine. It idles high until it warms up. And that's it, guys. I'll be doing a few more videos of this bike for this channel and one for Vehicle Hunter. Make sure you check out Vehicle Hunter and Motard Squid. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.